Starting this Wednesday, 3 new exhibitions will open at the Asian Civilisations Museum as part of its year-end special. More than 60 artifacts and artworks from the museum's collection will be on display for the first time, along with personal anecdotes from conservators, artists and collectors. This will be complemented by a temporary exhibition of historical objects from the Ming and Qing period. Local artist Dawn Ng will also have an installation inspired by a conversation with a psychologist. And for more on this exhibition, we are joined now by Shuyi. She's a curator from the Asian Civilisations Museum. So first up, perhaps big picture, give us a sense of all the exciting works chosen for this exhibition and how do they all tie in with this year's events?
Yes, hello, good evening. Thank you for having me. I think we have 3 different exhibits that will be on display from Wednesday. And I think the first one that I'll talk to you about is the special exhibition, the largest scale one, titled Faith, Beauty, Love, Hope, Our Stories, Your ACM. And I think it is an unprecedented exhibition for this rather unprecedented year. I work as a curator at the museum, and usually when we put exhibitions together, I get a great say in how I want to organize the narratives. But this time we have chosen to highlight stories in particular of other staff, as well as the larger community who work with the museum to keep it going. And I think this is especially significant for this year that has been so very difficult and trying. So this exhibition that I just mentioned, it touches on personal stories from the museum community, but of course the museum community also includes collectors, one of whom we are spotlighting in one of these exhibitions is Mr. Yuan Shaoliang, and he has been a long-term lender and supporter of the museum since we were first at the old Taunan building at Armenian Street. So he has been a long-term supporter, and we also wanted to highlight, his personal story and his legacy and interest about collecting and objects. So that is highlighted in our Think Inc. exhibition that spotlight letters and other works of calligraphic works from the Ming and Qing dynasties. And of course, last but not least, these 2 exhibitions are complemented by a large-scale installation called Perfect Stranger by our local artist, Dawn Ng. So that, as you mentioned, is an intimate dialogue, and it's the text that you get to read in this space. Yes, now I see an image of it. Is actually extracted from a dialogue that the artist had with an Israeli psychologist in 2016. So it's actually a very personal look, at these intimate sharings between 2 originally strangers, but they came to know each other very well over the course of a year. So, that's the 3 exhibitions in a nutshell.
Shuyi, let's talk a bit more about these personal reflections that'll be on display along with the artifacts and artworks. Were there particular stories that struck a chord with you?
So we gave an open call for various colleagues as well as other collaborators beyond ACM to submit their stories and to pick a personal favorite object from the collection that resonated with them. So there are many. I had a chance to read through basically everyone's stories. I think one of which I liked was from one of our community partners, Miss Clara Lowe. She works at the Day Activities Center at SPD. So she selected a mahjong table, a set, a furniture set, including a table and chairs. And I think I liked it because she drew really personal connections from what she sees and does at her workplace. So she shared with us, how that their activity center also had a mahjong table set. And it also reminded her basically of the times that to us seem a little distant, especially at some points this year during COVID. She talked about communal fun and, how the mahjong table was able to bring people together. For her clients at the SPD, it was also a form of reminiscent therapy. And I think, I did, enjoy how she tied the work to an object as well. And, she saw the significance in the 2 pieces. Another story that I liked, and I think for me, I got to know many of my colleagues better as well through their very personal stories. One of which was Jessica. She works in our digital and marketing and corporate comms department. And she shared with us, she chose a kabaya I think we didn't have an image of it, but we hope you can come to see it. And it is a very unique piece. Oh, here we have it. And actually, if you zoom in, you would see that it has a very whimsical and fun design. And there are flamenco dances and actually matadors embroidered as, the overall design of this textile. And she wondered, who was the lady who wore this, decades ago. This piece is probably mid-20th century. And she shared, actually, the kabaya was also of special significance to her because she was once part of the cabin crew of Singapore Airlines. So to her, the kabaya meant something extra, because every stitch and seam was, essentially a memory. So I thought, it was a really nice and intimate sharing, and it allowed me to also learn more about the people whom I work with.
Well, certainly plenty to see at the exhibition. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Shuyi there, curator from the Asian Civilisations Museum.